My chosen one. Every chain that ever held you was temporary, even the ones that felt permanent, even the ones that had been wrapped around your heart for so long that you forgot what freedom felt like, even the ones that seemed to be woven into the very fabric of who you are. The enemy forces convinced you that some bondage simply cannot be broken. They whispered that certain fears are not just feelings but actually part of your identity. They suggested that particular wounds will never fully heal because they have been open for too long. Dark voices showed you what they called evidence. They pointed to calendar days, counting how many years you have carried this burden. Deceptive whispers reminded you of every failed attempt to break free. Lying spirits suggested that duration equals permanence, that because something has lasted this long, it must be here to stay. But all of them lied. Every single voice that told you that you would never change lied about what was binding you. All opposition that claimed your situation was hopeless lied about my power to set you free. Each demonic suggestion that pointed to your past and said, "See, nothing ever works for you," lied about the timing of your liberation. The enemy has been lying to you from the beginning, and he has become very sophisticated in how he delivers those lies. Look at how sophisticated these lies became in your life. The enemy did not approach you with obvious deception that you would immediately recognize and reject. He did not come with horns and a pitchfork, telling you directly that you are doomed forever. Instead, he wrapped his lies in partial truths, making them seem reasonable and even wise. He pointed to real challenges you were facing and convinced you that those challenges defined your limitations. He showed you genuine obstacles that anyone would struggle with and persuaded you that those obstacles were permanent walls rather than temporary barriers waiting to be overcome. He took your legitimate struggles and used them as weapons against your hope. When you faced rejection from people whose acceptance you deeply needed, the enemy whispered that their rejection revealed something fundamentally unacceptable about your character. He said, "See, they left because you are not enough. You have never been enough. You will never be enough." When opportunities closed in ways that disappointed your highest hopes, lying voices suggested that those closed doors proved you were not qualified for blessing. They said, if you were meant to succeed, the door would have stayed open. The fact that it closed means you do not belong on the other side. When relationships ended in betrayal or abandonment, deceptive spirits convinced you that the same pattern will repeat indefinitely because something in you attracts dysfunctional people. They said, every relationship ends the same way. The common denominator is you. The problem is not them. The problem is you. Each lie was carefully crafted to seem logical based on the available evidence. Each deceptive suggestion was designed to feel like a reasonable conclusion based on what you had experienced. Each false narrative was constructed to appear wise and protective, as if accepting your limitation was actually a form of intelligent self-preservation that would save you from future disappointment. The enemy made you believe that hopping for more was dangerous, that expecting change was naive, that trusting for breakthrough was setting yourself up for more pain. He taught you to manage your expectations by keeping them low. He convinced you that safety was found in smallness. But the truth is completely different from everything the enemy convinced you to believe. The truth is that every challenge you faced was a temporary condition, not a permanent identity marker. Every obstacle you encountered was a situation to be solved, not a sentence to be served for the rest of your life. Every rejection you endured was a redirection toward better alignment, not a verdict on your worthiness. Every closed door was protection from something that would have harmed your future, not punishment for past mistakes. Every failure was a lesson, not a life sentence. Every setback was a setup for a comeback that would be more powerful than anything you could have achieved without going through the valley. Today, I am dismantling the lies that have kept you imprisoned. Not tomorrow when you finally get your act together. Not in some distant season when you finally deserve freedom after years of penance. Today, while you listen to these words, while my voice penetrates the darkness you have been living in, while my presence floods every area where fear has been making its home, I am setting you free. I am your freedom's architect. I designed you to live unrestrained by the limitations that others accepted for themselves. Built into your foundation is the capacity to break through barriers that have stopped generations before you. Planted in your spirit is the courage to attempt things that practical people consider impossible. Placed in your bones is a resilience to stand when everything around you suggests that falling is the only reasonable option. You were not created to be average. You were not designed to settle. You were not built to live beneath your potential, accepting less than what I died to give you. Your season of sorrow was always your season of strength. The depression you battled was actually developing determination you did not know you possessed. Each morning when getting out of bed felt like climbing a mountain, you were building endurance that will serve you for a lifetime. Each day when forcing a smile required heroic effort, you were developing the ability to choose hope over circumstances, a skill that will become your automatic response in future challenges. Each night when sleep seemed impossible because worry consumed your thoughts, you were learning to find rest in my presence rather than in the absence of problems. The anxiety that tormented you was forging discernment that will protect you for all the remaining days of your life. The racing thoughts that kept you awake were actually training your mind to recognize patterns and possibilities that less vigilant people miss entirely. Your hyper-awareness, which felt like a burden, was developing sensitivity to spiritual atmospheres that will enable you to pray effectively for situations before they become crises. Your ability to sense when something is wrong, which once felt like a curse, is becoming a gift that will save you and others from harm. The rejection you endured was eliminating your need for validation from sources that were never qualified to define your worth. Each person who walked away from a relationship with you was actually removing an obstacle to better relationships that were waiting to enter your life. Each organization that denied you an opportunity was preventing you from settling for a position that was beneath what I had planned for your career. Each group that excluded you was protecting you from associations that would have compromised your character or delayed your destiny. The people who left made room for the people who will stay. The doors that closed directed you toward doors that will open wider than anything you have ever seen. The betrayal you survived was teaching you to distinguish between authentic relationship and manipulation disguised as connection. The pain of discovering that someone you trusted was actually working against your interests was an education in recognizing similar patterns before they can cause damage in the future. The shock of realizing that a person you loved was capable of deliberate cruelty was preparation for setting healthy boundaries with people who have not learned to handle relationships responsibly. None of it was random. None of it was meaningless. All of it was preparation for what I am about to release in your life. During every difficult season, while you were focused on surviving from day to day, I was working in dimensions beyond your awareness to arrange circumstances for your advantage. When you felt forgotten and alone, I was positioning people who would become your strongest allies. When opportunities seemed scarce and closed, I was creating better opportunities that would open precisely when you were ready to receive them. When resources appeared limited and insufficient, I was multiplying seeds you had planted in previous seasons so they would produce harvest exactly when you needed provision. I have been constructing something magnificent in secret places, while you felt like everything was falling apart in visible places. While you were crying in darkness, I was laying foundations in invisible realms that will support the enormity of blessings you cannot yet imagine. While you were questioning whether I had forgotten about you, I was assembling materials for a breakthrough that will silence every voice that ever suggested you were not equipped for victory. Consider how master architects approach the design of buildings that must withstand extreme conditions. Before drawing a single line on a blueprint, they study the environment where the structure will be built. They analyze the soil composition that will support the foundation. They research the weather patterns that will test the exterior materials. They calculate the seismic activity that could threaten stability. They measure the wind forces that will push against walls. They trace the water flow that could cause flooding. They account for the temperature variations that will expand and contract materials over time. All of this research is essential because buildings that ignore environmental realities fail when conditions become challenging. Structures that look impressive during calm, whether collapse during storms if they were not designed to handle stress. Beautiful buildings become death traps if architects did not account for the forces that would test their integrity. When I designed your life, I knew every storm that would come against you. I understood every pressure that would test your faith. I anticipated every attack that the enemy would launch against your peace. I prepared for every challenge that would demand more strength than you thought you possessed. Nothing has caught me by surprise. Nothing has exceeded my planning capacity. Nothing has proven stronger than what I built into your foundation. The scaffolding of temporary support that you needed during construction comes down now. The braces that held you up when you could not stand on your own are being removed. Not because you no longer need support, but because you no longer need artificial support. You are being transferred from temporary help to permanent strength. What was temporary is ending. What is permanent is beginning. The construction is complete. What has been hidden from your view is about to become unmistakably visible. You will see the fortresses I have built around your life, walls of protection that no weapon can penetrate, towers of strength that elevate you above every circumstance that once threatened to overwhelm you, gates of opportunity that open at your approach because I have given you the keys, chambers of provision where every need finds its supply, gardens of restoration where everything stolen from you grows back multiplied. These fortresses were not built quickly. Structures designed to last forever require time to establish properly. Every stone was selected specifically for the unique pressures your life would face. Every beam was positioned to support the particular dreams I planted in your spirit. Every wall was reinforced to withstand the exact attacks that would come against you. The enemy studied you, looking for weaknesses, searching for patterns, trying to find the right moment to strike. But I designed you. I knew every weakness before you were born, and I built strength around it. I saw every pattern before it emerged, and I prepared a countermeasure. I anticipated every attack before it was planned, and I already secured your victory. The enemy's strategies are temporary because he does not know the future. He can only guess. He can only try. But my architecture is eternal because I have already seen everything that will happen, and I have already made provision for it. All that sorrow was always building strength. Walk with me through the fortresses I have completed for you. Let me show you what has been built while you were waiting. In the eastern walls, I have embedded every prayer you thought I did not hear. Your precious words shine like jewels because they were offered when offering them cost you something. When you prayed from abundance, your prayers were beautiful. When you prayed from desperation, your prayers became materials for supernatural intervention. Every midnight cry for help that seemed to echo into empty silence actually reached my throne and moved my heart to action on your behalf. Every tearful petition for healing that appeared to produce no visible change was working in invisible realms to prepare your body for restoration that would be complete and permanent, rather than temporary and partial. Every desperate plea for financial provision that felt ignored was arranging multiple streams of supply that would flow into your life at precisely the right timing. Every prayer for relationship healing that seemed to fall on deaf ears was working to remove people who would have damaged your future and preparing space for relationships that will honor your heart and support your purpose. Every request for direction during seasons of confusion was positioning opportunities and closing off paths that would have led you away from your destiny. Every cry for strength during moments of weakness was building capacity for strength that will never fail you again. I have collected all of these prayers. None were lost, none were forgotten, none were insignificant. Each one was precious to me because it represented your willingness to maintain communication with me even when circumstances made my presence difficult to perceive. Each one demonstrated faith that refused to quit, even when answers seemed delayed beyond reasonable expectation. Your prayers have become the very walls that protect you now. Every time you cried out to me, I used your voice as a brick. Every time you trusted me when you could not see me, I used your faith as mortar. The walls that surround you are made of your own prayers, fortified by my faithfulness. In the northern walls, I have displayed every tear that fell from your eyes in secret. Not one was wasted. Each droplet watered ground where impossible things take root. Tears of frustration became channels of breakthrough. Tears of loneliness created space for divine companionship that will never leave you empty again. Tears of disappointment washed away expectations that were too small for what I actually intended to give you. Tears you shed in bathroom stalls when you could not let anyone see how much you were hurting were especially precious to me, because they represented your determination to keep functioning even when pain threatened to overwhelm your capacity to cope. Tears that fell silently during conversations with people who had no idea what you were carrying internally were treasures, because they showed your strength in protecting others from burdens that were not theirs to bear. Tears that soaked your pillowcase during nights when sleep would not come and worry consumed your thoughts were investments in the peace that will guard your mind for the rest of your life. Each tear was a seed. Each sob was a planting. And now in this season, the harvest is coming up from the ground. Where you cried, joy will grow. Where you mourned, dancing will take root. Where you felt abandoned, the comfort of my presence will overflow. The tears you thought were wasted were actually the most powerful prayers you ever prayed. They bypassed your intellect and went straight from your broken heart to my healing hands. In the western walls, I have built something that will astound you completely. These walls are made from every failure that once convinced you that you were not qualified for blessing. Every mistake you thought disqualified you has become a building block in your fortress. Every stumble that made you question whether you were worthy of grace has been transformed into material for your victory. Your failures have become foundations for faith that cannot be shaken. Your mistakes have become monuments to mercy that will encourage others for generations. Business ventures that collapsed taught you lessons about wisdom and discernment that will guarantee success in the ventures I am preparing for you. Relationships that ended in disappointment educated you about character qualities to look for and warning signs to avoid in future relationships. Educational pursuits that did not produce expected results developed discipline and perseverance that will serve you in every area of life. Financial decisions that resulted in loss created humility and dependence on my provision, rather than confidence in your own planning ability. Career choices that led to dead ends protected you from paths that would have satisfied you temporarily, but prevented you from discovering purposes that will fulfill you eternally. Geographic moves that seemed like mistakes positioned you to meet people and learn skills that will prove essential for your future. Each failure taught you something you could not have learned through success. Each mistake revealed character weaknesses that needed to be strengthened before you could handle greater responsibilities. Each stumble developed resilience and humility that will keep you grounded when blessing begins to flow in abundance. The enemy pointed to your failures as evidence that you were finished. I used your failures as raw materials to build something that cannot be destroyed. He wanted you to be ashamed of your past. I have turned your past into your strongest defense. When the enemy tries to accuse you, the walls themselves will testify that every accusation has already been answered. Every failure has already been redeemed. Every mistake has already been rebuilt into something beautiful. The southern walls display the strength you developed when you thought you were too weak to continue. When circumstances pressed against you with force that seemed designed to crush your spirit, you did not realize that you were not just surviving the pressure. You were being forged by it. Every day you got up when getting up felt impossible, you were adding another layer of resilience to a character that would eventually become unbreakable. Mornings when depression made your bed feel like the safest place in the world, but you forced yourself to get up anyway, built discipline that will enable you to pursue goals even when motivation is absent. Afternoons when anxiety made every task feel overwhelming, but you completed necessary responsibilities anyway, developed the capacity to function effectively under pressure that will serve you in high-stakes situations. evenings when loneliness made you want to isolate completely, but you chose to maintain connections with people who cared about you, strengthened relationship skills that will enable you to build healthy community around your life. Nights when worry made sleep seem impossible, but you chose to pray instead of panicking, created spiritual habits that will anchor you during future challenges. Conversations with people who were unreasonable or hostile, but you responded with kindness anyway, developed emotional maturity that will enable you to navigate difficult personalities without losing your peace. Situations that demanded more patience than you thought you possessed, but you persevered anyway, built capacity for long-term thinking that will enable you to complete projects that require sustained effort over extended periods. You thought you were falling apart, but you were actually being assembled. You thought you were breaking down, but you were actually being built up. You thought you were losing ground, but you were actually being positioned for higher ground. Every time you chose to stand when standing was hard, you added strength to these walls. Every time you decided to fight when fighting was exhausting, you reinforced these fortifications. The strength you have now is not borrowed from anyone else. It is not dependent on perfect circumstances or ideal conditions. It is your strength, forged in fire, tested by trials, proven by time. Stand in the center courtyards of these fortresses and understand what I have accomplished through your willingness to endure what you could not understand. Every room surrounds you with evidence that nothing in your life was wasted. Every space testifies that I use all things, even the painful things, to construct something beautiful. Every corner declares that your story is not defined by what happened to you, but by what I built through you. The enemy tried to destroy you with the very experiences I was using to develop you. He interpreted your trials as evidence of my abandonment. I used those same trials as raw materials for your advancement. He saw your struggles as proof of your inadequacy. I used your struggles as opportunities to prove my sufficiency through your weakness. What the enemy meant for destruction, I used for construction. What he intended to tear down, I incorporated into the blueprints. What he designed to stop you became the very thing that prepared you for unstoppable forward motion. Every moment of that sorrow was forging strength. Now let me tell you about the spiritual transformations that were taking place in invisible dimensions while you were focused on surviving visible challenges. While you were wondering if you would ever feel normal again, I was rewiring neural pathways in your brain to respond to stress with peace instead of panic. The changes you could not see were more significant than the changes you could see. The healing you could not feel was more important than the pain you could feel. While you were struggling to maintain faith during disappointments, I was strengthening spiritual muscles that will carry you through any future crisis without breaking. The faith that feels weak to you right now is actually stronger than it has ever been because it has been tested. A faith that has never been tested is a faith that has never been proven. Your faith has been proven. It has been to hell and back, and it is still standing. During seasons when you felt like you were barely holding on, cellular regeneration was taking place at levels deeper than medical science can detect. Your body was being restored in ways that no scan could reveal and no doctor could measure. Old patterns of thinking that had limited your potential for decades were being systematically dismantled and replaced with thought processes aligned with my truth about who you are and what you are capable of accomplishing. While you were crying yourself to sleep, wondering if the pain would ever end, I was performing emotional surgery that removed scar tissue from wounds that had been festering for years. While you were forcing yourself to get through each day without any idea where your strength was coming from, I was building spiritual infrastructure that will support you through challenges much greater than anything you have faced so far. Subconscious programming that had been installed during childhood experiences with people who did not know how to love you properly was being systematically identified and rewritten with truth about your value and potential. Defense mechanisms that had protected you during seasons when protection was necessary, but were now preventing you from receiving blessing, were being carefully removed and replaced with healthy boundaries based on wisdom rather than fear. Spiritual gifts that had been dormant because trauma had buried them under layers of self-protection were being awakened and activated. Creative abilities that had been suppressed because criticism had convinced you they were not valuable enough to develop were being restored and enhanced. Leadership qualities that had been hidden because rejection had taught you to stay invisible were being brought to the surface and prepared for expression. During every hour when you wondered if you were strong enough to continue, supernatural strength was being deposited into your spirit that will be available for the rest of your life. During every day when hope felt like a luxury you could not afford, supernatural hope was being woven into the fabric of your character so tightly that no future circumstance will be able to separate you from confidence in my goodness. Every bit of that sorrow was forging strength. Your tools change now. For years you have been equipped with instruments of endurance, patience when you needed to wait, faith when you could not see, hope when evidence suggested despair was more reasonable. All these tools served their purpose during the construction phases. Each one kept you alive when the enemy was trying to eliminate you. Every instrument sustained you when circumstances were trying to starve you. All of them protected you when forces were gathering to destroy you. But the construction is complete. Your tools change now, from defensive to offensive, from enduring to advancing, from surviving to thriving, from holding on to breaking through. I am placing in your hands hammers of authority that shatter every limitation that once contained you. When you speak my word into situations that seem impossible, walls of opposition will crumble. When you declare my promises over circumstances that appear hopeless, chains of bondage will break. When you pray my will into environments that resist change, atmospheres will shift to accommodate my purposes. The authority you now carry is not based on your education, your experience, or your natural abilities. It flows from the intimate relationship you developed with me during seasons when no one else was available to help you. It springs from the trust you learned to place in my character when circumstances gave you no logical reason to trust anything or anyone. It grows from the faith you chose to maintain, even when maintaining faith felt like choosing to be disappointed again. When you walk into rooms where fear has been controlling conversations, fear will have to leave, not because of your loud voice or your forceful personality, but because the presence you carry is greater than the presence that has been occupying that space. When you enter situations where hopelessness has been defining outcomes, hope will begin to rise in people who had given up expecting things to change. Your very presence will be a catalyst for transformation. When you speak truth into environments where lies have been accepted as reality, truth will prove itself more powerful than deception. Not because you are a great debater, but because truth has its own authority. You are simply the vessel through which that authority flows. I'm also placing in your hands saws of discernment that cut through confusion and reveal truth with precision. You will no longer be deceived by appearances that contradict reality. You will see through manipulation attempts before they can influence your decisions. You will recognize divine opportunities even when they arrive disguised as ordinary circumstances. You will distinguish between people who genuinely support your success and people who secretly hope for your failure. The discernment you now possess was sharpened through experiences with people who were not what they appeared to be. Each time someone gained your trust through false presentation and then revealed their true character, your spiritual radar was being calibrated to detect similar deception in future encounters. Each betrayal that caught you off guard was education for recognizing warning signs that you had missed because you wanted to believe the best about people. Those painful experiences have become your early warning system. You will trust your gut now because your gut has been trained through fire. I am giving you levels of wisdom that ensure everything you build from this point forward rests on solid ground. Before making major decisions, you will receive clear guidance about which options align with my plans for your life. Before entering new relationships, you will understand which people will honor your heart and which people will use your trust for their advantage. Before pursuing opportunities, you will know which doors lead to advancement and which doors lead to distraction. The wisdom you now access flows from intimacy with my spirit that was developed during seasons when you had no one else to turn to for guidance. When human advisors were unavailable or unreliable, you learned to seek my counsel and wait for my direction. When circumstances forced you to make choices that would affect your future but information was incomplete, you developed the skill of hearing my voice above all other voices. That skill is now fully operational in your life. You will know things that you have not been taught. You will understand situations that you have not studied. You will perceive dangers that you have not been warned about. This wisdom is not arrogance. It is not you thinking you are smarter than everyone else. It is the voice of the Holy Spirit, speaking to you with such clarity that you cannot mistake it for your own thoughts. I am giving you measuring tapes of understanding that prevent you from accepting anything smaller than what I have prepared for you. You will no longer settle for relationships that diminish your joy or opportunities, that insult your potential, or living situations that compromise your peace. The standards I have placed in your spirit will protect you from agreements that benefit others at your expense. Your understanding of your true worth was established through seasons when you were valued incorrectly by people who did not have the capacity to recognize what they were seeing when they looked at you. Each time someone treated you as less valuable than you actually are, I was building an internal compass that would guide you away from similar relationships in the future. Each opportunity that insulted your capabilities was preparation for recognizing and rejecting offers that are beneath what I have prepared for your career. You will not be desperate anymore. Desperation made you accept less. Desperation made you tolerate disrespect. Desperation made you beg for what should have been freely given. But desperation is leaving you now because you finally understand who you are and what you carry. You will use these tools to dismantle structures that have stood in your community for generations. Poverty mindsets that convinced families they were destined for lack will crumble when you demonstrate that provision follows faith, not family history. Addiction patterns that consumed potential before it could develop will break when people see someone who was once trapped walking in complete freedom. Relationship cycles that repeated dysfunction because no one knew how to construct something different will end when they witness your healthy connections. Educational barriers that kept entire bloodlines from accessing opportunities will fall when your children and grandchildren go further than anyone in your family has ever gone. Spiritual bondage that prevented people from experiencing the freedom I died to provide will be broken when your testimony becomes their hope. When you walk into environments where these destructive patterns have been operating for decades, your presence alone will begin to break their power. You will not have to preach a sermon or lead a seminar. People will see the peace on your face, the light in your eyes, the confidence in your step, and they will know that something is different about you. And when they ask you what happened, you will tell them. You will tell them about the God who builds fortresses out of failures. You will tell them about the architect who uses every tear as a blueprint for breakthrough. You will tell them about the contractor who never leaves a project unfinished and never delivers a product that does not exceed expectations. Your testimony will give people permission to expect different outcomes than their families have experienced. Your example will demonstrate that impossible situations can change when approached with faith rather than resignation. Generational curses that have limited your family line for centuries lose their power when they encounter someone who has learned to operate from a position of victory rather than a position of defeat. Financial struggle patterns that have affected your bloodline for generations break when they meet someone who understands that provision flows from divine source rather than human effort alone. Relationship dysfunction cycles that have repeated through multiple generations stop when they encounter someone who has learned healthy ways to connect with others. You are not just receiving breakthrough, you are becoming breakthrough. You are not just experiencing liberation, you are becoming an agent of liberation for others. You are not just moving into blessing, you are becoming a blessing that creates more blessing wherever you go. The fortresses I have built protect you from attacks, but you will not remain inside the walls forever. Walls are not meant to be prisons. They are meant to be launching points. You will go out from these fortresses equipped with unshakable confidence because you know what you carry. You will advance with supernatural boldness because you understand what backs you. You will engage impossible situations with divine authority because you have learned the difference between my voice and the voice of limitation. When people see the transformation in your life, they will want to know what happened. When they observe the peace that guards you in circumstances that once would have destroyed that peace, they will ask for your secret. When they witness the provision that flows toward you from sources you did not create, they will want to understand the principles you are operating by. You will tell them about the architect who never builds anything temporary. You will tell them about the contractor who never cuts corners when eternal things are at stake. You will tell them about foundations that go deeper than any storm can reach. You will tell them about materials that grow stronger under pressure instead of weaker. You will tell them about blueprints that account for every challenge before the first stones are laid. Your story will become their hope. Your fortress will become their inspiration to believe that what I did for you, I can do for them. Your breakthrough will give them permission to expect their own breakthrough. Your liberation will convince them that their chains are also temporary. That painful season was developing unbreakable strength. This is why the enemy fought so hard to convince you that the seasons would never end. He knew what I was creating in invisible realms while you struggled in visible realms. He understood that your endurance during construction phases was developing capacity for blessing phases that would be far greater than anything you had experienced before. He recognized that your willingness to trust me in the darkness was forging faith that would move mountains in the light. Every attack against you was actually confirmation of the magnitude of what I was preparing for you. The enemy does not waste his energy on people who are destined for mediocrity. He reserves his most intense opposition for the ones who carry the potential to transform entire regions through their obedience to my will. The intensity of what you survived is proportionate to the impact you will have. The depth of your testing was preparation for the height of your testimony. The duration of your trial was necessary to build the endurance required for the marathon of blessing that is now ahead of you. You are stepping now from seasons of construction into seasons of occupation, from times of preparation into times of manifestation, from periods of development into periods of demonstration. Everything changes. The pace changes. Your perspective changes. Your provision changes. Even the opposition changes, not because the enemy has given up, but because you have changed. What once intimidated you now inspires you because you understand that challenges are opportunities for me to demonstrate my power through your faith. What once worried you now motivates you because you know that obstacles are invitations for breakthrough that will benefit generations beyond yourself. What once overwhelmed you now energizes you because you have learned that my strength is perfected in your weakness. You will look back on these seasons of transition as the moment when everything shifted from impossible to inevitable, when the ceilings that limited your thinking were removed and replaced with skis that have no boundaries, when the walls that contained your expectations collapsed and revealed horizons you had never imagined, when the doors that seemed permanently locked swung open and invited you into territories you were born to possess. Every painful experience was developing inner strength. Now I want to show you something else about what has been taking place during these construction seasons. While you were focused on surviving day by day, I was installing spiritual infrastructure in your life that will support miraculous operations for decades to come. While you were wondering if you could endure another week of difficulty, I was laying spiritual foundations that will carry the enormity of generational blessings. Consider how master builders approach massive construction projects. Before anyone sees impressive structures rising above the ground, teams of engineers spend months or even years preparing underground systems, electrical grids that will power every light and appliance, plumbing networks that will supply fresh water and remove waste, communication systems that will connect every room to the outside world, structural supports that will bear the weight of everything built above. All of this invisible work is absolutely essential. But people walking past construction sites cannot see any of it happening. What they observe is dirt being moved, holes being dug, concrete being poured into shapes that make no obvious sense. To casual observers, it appears that nothing meaningful is being accomplished. Months pass with no visible progress toward anything that looks like a finished building. But master builders know that everything visible depends entirely on everything invisible. The strongest buildings in the world are strong because their invisible systems were installed with precision and patience. The most beautiful buildings in the world are beautiful because their underground infrastructure was built to support that beauty without compromise. During your season of sorrow, I was installing spiritual infrastructure that will support a life of extraordinary beauty and strength. While you were crying, I was laying electrical systems that will power supernatural operations in your life for the rest of your days. While you were struggling to understand why certain things were taking so long, I was installing communication networks that will connect you to divine resources without delay or interruption. While you were feeling like nothing was happening, I was putting in place plumbing systems that will carry fresh supply of peace, joy, hope, and wisdom into every area of your life, while simultaneously removing the toxic emotions, destructive thought patterns, and relationship poison that has been contaminating your environment. While you were questioning whether I had abandoned you, I was putting in place structural supports that will bear the weight of blessings so large that your previous foundation would have collapsed under their magnitude. All of that work is complete now. The infrastructure is in place. The systems have been tested and proven functional. What was invisible during the construction phase is about to become visible during the operation phase. All that difficulty was building spiritual strength. Now I want to tell you about the specific systems I have installed in your life during this construction period. First, I have given you a discernment system that operates automatically to protect you from deception. You will no longer be vulnerable to manipulation from people who know how to say the things you want to hear while planning to use your trust for their advantage. Your spirit will detect manipulation before your mind has time to analyze what is happening. Red flags will appear in your consciousness whenever someone approaches you with hidden agendas. This discernment system was developed through painful experiences with people who betrayed your trust. Each betrayal was actually a training exercise for the spiritual senses I was developing in you. Each disappointment with people who turned out to be different than they presented themselves was education for the intuitive wisdom I was building into your character. Each time you trusted someone who proved unworthy of that trust, I was calibrating your spiritual radar to protect you from similar mistakes in the future. You will never again be blindsided by someone pretending to be for you while secretly working against you. The system is installed. It is active. Trust it. Second, I have installed a provision system that will create multiple streams of supply in your life. You will no longer be dependent on a single source of income, or a single relationship, or a single opportunity for your security. Doors will open in industries you never considered. People will invite you into projects you never imagined. Resources will flow toward you from directions you did not know existed. This provision system was developed through seasons when your normal sources of supply were reduced or eliminated entirely. Each time you faced financial pressure, I was teaching you to look beyond the obvious sources for your needs. Each time a relationship disappointment left you feeling isolated, I was expanding your capacity to receive from my direct supply rather than depending entirely on human sources. Each time an opportunity seemed closed off, I was preparing you to recognize and receive from supernatural sources that never run dry. Your provision is no longer limited by economic conditions, by the decisions of employers, or by the availability of human resources. You are connected directly to the source, and the source has no limit. Third, I have given you a strength system that will sustain you through challenges that would have overwhelmed you in previous seasons. You will find yourself carrying loads that once would have crushed you. You will face opposition that once would have intimidated you into retreat. You will persist through difficulties that once would have convinced you to quit. This strength system was forged through experiences that demanded more endurance than you thought you possessed. Each trial that lasted longer than you expected was building physical, emotional, and spiritual muscle that will serve you for the rest of your life. Each situation that required you to keep going when quitting felt more reasonable was developing character qualities that cannot be built through easy circumstances. Every trial was forging unbreakable strength. You are stronger now than you have ever been, not because your circumstances are easier, but because you are different. The same weight that once broke you now feels manageable, because you have been strengthened by the very process of carrying it. Fourth, I have installed an authority system that will cause doors to open and obstacles to move when you speak in my name. Your words will carry power they never carried before. Your prayers will produce results with a speed that will surprise you. Your declarations will shift spiritual atmospheres in the rooms you enter. This authority system was developed through seasons when you felt powerless and voiceless. Each time you had to endure situations you could not change, I was teaching you the difference between human power and divine authority. Each time you faced opposition that was stronger than your natural abilities to overcome, I was preparing you to operate from your spiritual position rather than your human position. Each experience of being unable to fix things through your own effort was education for learning to access my power through faith and obedience. The authority you carry is not borrowed. It is not temporary. It is yours, given to you by the one who has all authority in heaven and on earth. When you speak, heaven listens. When you pray, angels move. When you declare, circumstances shift. Fifth, I have given you a wisdom system that will provide understanding for complex situations without requiring years of study or experience. Solutions will come to you for problems that baffle experts. Insights will arise in your mind for challenges that others have struggled with for years. Clarity will emerge for decisions that once would have paralyzed you with uncertainty. This wisdom system was developed through seasons when you had to make important decisions with insufficient information. Each time you had to choose a direction without being able to see all possible outcomes, I was teaching you to trust divine guidance rather than depending entirely on human analysis. Each situation that forced you to act on faith rather than certainty was training for accessing supernatural wisdom that surpasses human understanding. You will know things that you have not been taught. You will see solutions that others cannot see. You will make decisions that seem risky to the world, but are perfectly safe because they are guided by wisdom that comes from above. Sixth, I have installed a compassion system that will enable you to minister healing to others who carry wounds similar to the ones you have healed from. Your pain will become a platform for delivering hope to people who are still trapped in places you have been delivered from. Your testimony will unlock prisons that have held other people captive for years. This compassion system was developed through your own healing process. Each layer of your own pain that I have restored has become a doorway through which my healing can flow to others. Each breakthrough you have experienced in your own life has equipped you to guide others through similar breakthroughs. Each victory you have won over fear, depression, addiction, or relationship dysfunction has prepared you to help others win similar victories. Those painful seasons were developing strength. You will not despise your pain anymore because you now understand that your pain has purpose. Your wounds have become wells from which others can drink. Your scars have become maps that show others the way to freedom. Seventh, I have given you a peace system that will keep you calm and focused during crises that send other people into panic. Storm winds that destabilize others will not disturb your inner equilibrium. News that terrifies communities will not steal your confidence in my ultimate control over all circumstances. This peace system was developed through experiences that tested your ability to trust me when situations appeared completely out of control. Each crisis that arrived without warning was an opportunity for you to learn to anchor your stability in my character rather than in circumstances. Each emergency that required you to choose between fear and faith was education for developing unshakable confidence in my ability to work good outcomes from seemingly impossible situations. The peace you now have is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of trust. No matter what happens around you, inside you there is a stillness that cannot be disturbed, because it is rooted in the certainty that I am with you and I am for you. Eighth, I have installed a joy system that will enable you to maintain gladness and gratitude even during seasons that test your faith. You will find reasons to celebrate when others can find only reasons to complain. You will discover beauty in places where others see only problems. You will experience hope when others experience only desperation. This joy system was forged through seasons when choosing joy required deliberate discipline rather than natural inclination. Each day when you had to decide to praise me despite painful circumstances was building capacity for supernatural joy that does not depend on external conditions. Each time you chose to focus on blessings rather than problems was developing a character quality that will serve you and others for generations. Your joy is not fragile anymore. It is not dependent on everything going your way. It is built on a foundation that cannot be shaken because it is built on the unchanging reality of my love for you. The infrastructure is complete. The systems are operational. The construction phase is finished. The occupation phase begins now. Every hardship was building supernatural strength. Everything I have told you about these spiritual systems and this infrastructure leads to this crucial understanding. You are not just receiving personal blessing. You are being prepared to become a source of blessing for multitudes of other people. Your healing will facilitate healing for others. Your breakthrough will create pathways for breakthrough that will benefit people you have never met. I am positioning you strategically in places where your influence will reach people who need to see evidence that impossible situations can change. Your story will convince skeptics that divine intervention is not an outdated religious concept, but a present reality available to anyone willing to trust me with their circumstances. Through your testimony, marriages that seem beyond hope will be restored. Through your example, people trapped in addiction cycles will find the strength to choose freedom. Through your prayers, financial impossibilities will become financial testimonies. Through your faith, medical diagnoses will be overturned. Through your obedience, family relationships that have been broken for generations will be healed. You are becoming the answer to prayers that other people have been praying for years. You are becoming the fulfillment of promises that I made to people who are still waiting for evidence that I keep my word. You are becoming proof that no situation is too difficult for divine intervention to resolve. When people ask you what changed in your life, you will tell them about the seasons of sorrow that were actually seasons of strength being built inside you. You will explain how I used every painful experience as raw material for constructing miracle-working faith. You will describe how the difficulties that seemed designed to destroy you were actually designed to develop you into someone who could carry the authority to destroy those same difficulties in other people's lives. Your fortress stands complete. Your tools are in your hands. Your authority has been transferred. The seasons have shifted. The construction is finished. The occupation begins now. Enter the lands I have prepared for you. Walk through the doors I have opened for you. Take possession of the inheritances I have reserved for you. Receive the blessings I have built for you. Experience the freedom I have constructed for you. What was broken is restored. What was stolen is returned. What was lost is recovered. What was damaged is rebuilt, better than it was originally. What was delayed arrives at the perfect moment. What was denied becomes abundant beyond your ability to contain it all. The sorrow lifts. The strength remains. The fortresses protect. The futures unfold. The breakthroughs manifest. Victory belongs to you because you belong to me. All those struggles were building strength within you. Now I want to speak specifically to the different areas where you have felt defeated and show you how victory is manifesting in each one. In your finances, where scarcity convinced you that enough was never possible, I am opening streams of provision that will flow from sources you never considered. Businesses will seek your consultation. Investment opportunities will present themselves at precisely the right timing. The skills you develop during difficult seasons will become valuable resources that generate income in ways you never imagined. In your relationships, where betrayal taught you to guard your heart so carefully that connection became difficult, I am bringing people who will honor your trust and value your vulnerability. Friends who will celebrate your successes without jealousy. Partners who will support your dreams without trying to control your direction. Family members who will appreciate your growth instead of resenting your changes. In your health, where symptoms convinced you that wellness was a luxury you could not afford, restoration is taking place at cellular levels that will surprise medical professionals who observe your progress. Energy that was depleted through years of stress is being renewed. Strength that was compromised by emotional burdens is being restored. Mental clarity that was clouded by anxiety is becoming sharp and focused. In your career, where closed doors suggested that advancement was not available for someone with your background, opportunities are being arranged that will utilize gifts you thought no one valued. Positions are opening that require exactly the combination of skills and experience that your unique journey has provided. Leadership roles are being prepared that will benefit from the wisdom you gain through surviving challenges that would have crushed people with less resilience. In your purpose, where confusion made you wonder if you were meant for anything significant, clarity is emerging that will reveal assignments specifically designed for someone with your particular combination of passions and abilities. Missions that will fulfill you while making an impact that extends far beyond your immediate circle. Callings that will utilize every painful experience you survived by transforming them into platforms for helping others find freedom from similar struggles. That difficult time was developing strength. Your season of sorrow was always your season of strength, and your season of strength is now your season of unstoppable divine breakthrough that will demonstrate my power and my love to everyone who witnesses what I am doing in your life. Nations will be blessed through your faithful obedience. Families will be healed through your testimony. Businesses will prosper through your leadership. Communities will be transformed through your influence. Churches will be revived through your faith. Hearts will be opened through your genuine compassion. Lives will be saved through your witness. Souls will be delivered through your prayers. Generations will be impacted through your legacy. History will be changed through your willingness to trust me when trusting me cost you everything you thought you needed to feel secure, but gave you everything you actually needed to become who I created you to be from the foundation of the world. Your name is written in my book of remembrance as someone who feared my name and thought upon my name during seasons when doing so required more faith than seemed humanly possible. Your story is recorded in heavenly archives as a testimony to my faithfulness that will encourage saints throughout eternity. Your choices during difficult seasons created precedents in spiritual courts that will benefit multitudes of people who will face similar challenges in generations to come. Your prayers during dark nights opened pathways of divine intervention that will be available for people who learn to call upon my name with the same persistence and sincerity you demonstrated when answers seemed impossible. Your worship during painful seasons shifted spiritual atmospheres in ways that will make breakthrough easier for others who choose to praise me through their own difficult circumstances. Your faith during testing seasons moved mountains in invisible realms that were blocking blessing for entire communities and regions. Everything you endured served purposes far beyond your personal development and preparation. You were participating in cosmic battles between light and darkness, and your victory has implications that extend throughout both time and eternity. Well done, good and faithful servant. Well done, overcomer who refused to quit when quitting seemed reasonable. Well done, warrior who fought battles that no one else could see and won victories that will benefit people you will never meet. Well done, faithful child who maintained hope when hope required courage that came from believing in my goodness despite evidence that suggested believing was foolish. Well done, beautiful soul who chose to trust my character when circumstances challenged everything. You thought you understood about how I operate in difficult situations. Well done, precious heart who decided to keep loving when love had been wounded and rejected and betrayed, until loving again seemed like choosing to be hurt again. Well done, magnificent spirit who persevered through seasons that would have destroyed people with less inner strength, developed through intimacy with my heart during years of learning to find me in every situation, whether those situations seemed to confirm my presence or seemed to suggest my absence. Now go, walk in your freedom. Live in your breakthrough, occupy your fortress, use your tools, deploy your authority, share your testimony. The world needs to see what I have done in you. The world needs to know that chains can break. The world needs to believe that seasons of sorrow can become seasons of strength. You are the evidence. You are the proof. You are the living testimony that nothing is impossible for those who trust in me. Go now and let your life be the answer to someone else's prayer. Amen.